this Veterans Day. Thank you very much. Thank you for your bravery. Yeah, bravery. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for your toughness. Thank you for doing the job that I could never do and most of us could never do and protecting our country. So to our veterans on this Veterans Day, I think Veterans Day should be every day. I think every day we should thank a veteran. But on this day, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
And thank you for allowing us to now go to the candy store and talk about stuff that in the whole grand scheme of things doesn't mean all that much.
Major League Baseball free agency? Is that what we're starting with?
No, not quite yet. We'll get to that later, though. I know the GM meetings are this week. But I was sitting there last night. I was watching a crappy football game like most of us were. And I started to give thought to the state of the New York Football Giants. And I started to give thought to the statement that was released yesterday afternoon from ownership about Brian Daboll and his removal as head coach and Joe Schoen. And I started to use my noodle. I started to use my brain. And I started to think of a term that I like to use every once in a while. It's called card subject to change. Joe Schoen isn't safe as the general manager of the New York Football Giants. And it was a thought I had last night, not based on any insight, not based on any sources, but just based on something John Mara said back in January and something that was said in the statement, which was, we believe Joe Schoen built a good enough roster.
Right.
That's how they feel.
They should have more wins with the roster that they possess.
That's how they feel. And I think there are some fans who agree with that, some fans who don't agree with that. And the more I thought about that, the more I looked at these last 7 games and said, if they lose every game, and let's say it's non-competitive, who knows? I could see and almost expect that the words released by Mr. Mara and Mr. Tisch yesterday would change. Because I think they would say, you know what? Card subject to change. And so I thought about this all night last night. But I wasn't sure. Like, it's just me. It's just Evan. I'm just a guy. And then this morning, a very trusted voice said something that gave me even more confidence that Joe Schoen is not safe as general manager. He's actually one of your coworkers, Tiki Barber.
Is he? What did he say?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to play a quick snippet of Bob Papa on the Believe podcast network.
They announced that Joe Schoen will remain the general manager and he will lead the search for a new head coach. Look, I think all bets are off on everything at this point. And the owners have the right to reserve and change their mind if they need be, depending on how the season goes.
Bob Papa's thinking along with me here. We're not reporting that Joe Schoen is in trouble. I don't know. I think as of right now, what Tisch and Mara said yesterday is honestly how they feel. But to every Giant fan, and some of you are freaking out about the decision to keep Joe Schoen, I firmly believe, and I'm only backed by Bob's lines and even Ian O'Connor earlier today saying he doesn't believe Joe Schoen is certain to be the Giants GM next year, that I don't think it's a lock he remains. And I think these last 7 games, Tiki, fair or not, are going to go a long way in determining if he does lead the search for a new head coach.
Yeah, I think it's a hard evaluation because when you look at some of the drafts, in particular last year, which was a very good draft for the New York Giants, the 2024 draft. Obviously, Malik Neighbors, who is going to be all-world when he's healthy. Tyler Newman had a really good first year. He's regressed this season. Some people will say it's a scheme, and that's on Shane Bowen, but that is what it is. Andrew Phillips was one of the best cornerbacks, not just rookies, but cornerbacks a season ago, and he struggled in year 2. Read what I said about Tyler Newman. Then you go to Theo Johnson, who's developing, has some good games. He's still young, bad games. Tyrone Tracy had 1,000 collective yards last year, and Darius Millisau, who is hurt, he might not be one of those guys. But you look at last year's draft, and you say, you know what? That was about a 75% hit rate. That was pretty damn good. And then you look at drafting this season, 2 really potential stars, Abdul Carter and Jaxson Dart in the first round. And it's all of a sudden you're in this short sample, you're saying, all right, he's done a really good job of bringing talent into this team. Players that are going to be a part of this future and a foundation. I think that's what you heard yesterday. But then you go back and look at some of these other drafts. And in particular, 2023. Deontay Banks? I mean, really? I know John Michael Schmitz has been a starter, but he's undersized. He hasn't really found his groove yet. I give that a neutral grade. Jalen Hyatt? Dude can't get on the field. Eric Gray? Where is he? He's on the practice squad, or where is he anymore? Right? Trey Hawkins was a bum. He's gone. Jordan Riley, Javarius Owens, none of these guys made it. So 2023 was egregiously bad. Now his first one, that's the one that everybody looks at and says, do you have your eyes screwed on correctly? When you went and evaluated Evan Neal, I know he's a Bama boy, but Evan Neal plays he doesn't play. So it's not even like he plays like a certain way. Just he doesn't play, which tells you enough. Josh Azudu? Seriously? Right? I mean, Daniel Bellinger's turned into a good player, but most of his drafts have been, you miss, man. You missed. And when you have a sub 60% hit rate as a general manager over 4 years, what do we? Why do you deserve to keep going then?
Right.
We understand that the coaching has been suspect, whether it was defensively under Wink, and especially as it went on, and then this year under Shane Bowen. Offensively, you could point to some good things. We get why the coaching ultimately deserved blame. Simply, they didn't win games. 20 games in 4 years is not enough. Great. What can you say? How do you evaluate the general manager at the same time? That's where the Giants are in a kerfuffle right now. They don't really they don't know how to evaluate Joe Schoen, because he's done some really good things. Brian Burns, you have to give him credit for, but he's also had some colossal misses.
Yeah. It's a mixed bag.
Right.
When we go move by move, there is some really good moves, and this is the important thing when we do this. We all have a bias. Right now, some of us are, Joe Schoen's got to go, he sucks. No matter how you feel, you can't then look at a good move and say, well, I'm not giving him credit for that, because you already have the opinion that Joe Schoen stinks,
right,
and vice versa. We need to be fair, and I think if we're being fair, it's a very mixed bag. But I'm going to take ownership at their word that they believe this team should have more wins than they have.
Yeah.
That's how they believe. And you know what? I got to admit it. It's kind of tough to argue right now. Because when you look at some of these fourth quarter collapses, if coaching was better, they win those games.
Of course.
And if they win those games, instead of being 2-8, they're 4-6. And if you're 4-6, Sean's breaking down how they can win the NFC East.
That's very true. That's very true.
So
what are they, 1-2 with having a 10-point lead,
right,
in the 4 minutes left in the game?
I think, and you pointed out, certainly on the Denver game, coaching had a lot to do with why they didn't win those games. So I think that point of we should be better than 2-8 is a fair point.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when this season is over after 17 games, if the belief is, wow, we are a good coach away, we have the talent, then that's only going to help Joe Schoen keep his job.
Of course.
But if the diagnosis after this season is over, which I think some Giant fans are already at, which is, no, they're not good enough. No, Joe Schoen hasn't done a good enough job, then I do think it is still certainly possible that ownership is going to fire him. I don't think it's a lock. He's leading the coaching search. I don't care what that statement said yesterday. They're not firing him on November 10th.
Right.
I'm telling you, read the tea leaves on this.
There's too much work to be done still. That is evaluating this upcoming draft. Obviously, the trade deadline is gone, so you're not worried about in-season maneuvers. But there are still in-season maneuvers that might need to be made if you decide to cut somebody, pick someone off up of waivers, or whatever the heck the situation may be. There's still work that the general manager necessarily has to do now. And so it's not easy to just replace your GM.
I also think that the way you view this Giant team at the end of the year could look differently come January. If Mike Kafka leads the New York Giants to 4 out of 7 wins or 5 out of 7 wins, we may all be sitting here saying, you know what, it was the head coach. Wow, the talent is good enough.
This is where I completely disagree. And I think the record the rest of the way really should be irrelevant to the job Joe Schoen did. This has been the story of the Giants. It is blame it on one thing, fix it. The next year we realized that it was more than just the blame. Blame it on the offensive line. Okay, fix that a little bit. Daniel Jones still can't hit receivers. Blame it on the quarterback. Okay, bring in Jaxson Dart. You still win 2 games. I think the basis on with better coaching, we've seen the collapses. Could the Giants have a better record? Nobody could question that. But here's the problem. In year 4, they should actually have a better record than the record you think they should have with better coaching based on the roster that Joe Schoen has put together. Okay,
but he's not coaching. He's not calling plays.
But here's my point. If a better coach with this roster gets this team to 5-5 or 4-4, by year 4, Tiki, with Joe Schoen's roster building, this should be a team that is, 7 wins, 8 wins. If you truly are fully nailing these drafts and nailing failing free agency, it still isn't good enough. We're hoping for better coaching just that the team's 500 at this point. But what does that say about the GM?
I think that so often general managers get blamed for the production of things they have zero control over. They're not developing players. They're not motivating players. Hell, I had a relationship with Ernie Accorsi simply because I have relationships with everybody. It's just who I am. It's my nature. Most players can't tell you the general manager's wife's name. You know what I mean? They don't have a relationship with the GM at all. And they're only dealing with them via their agent. So I get that he drafts you, he signs you. When it comes contract time, he's the one you talk to. But there's no relationship there. The development isn't party to the general manager. And so he has to evaluate the dogs, so to speak, the guys that are football players. And to his credit, he's done that with some of these guys. But he's also missed on some of these guys.
He certainly has. There's a lot of misses in there.
And so this is why the evaluation, I think, is hard. Because it's easy to just to look at the result and blame the GM. But so much of that is on the coach who develops you, who makes you a better player. I mean, I wasn't the same player when I became a good NFL player that I was when I was drafted. I was completely different. Right, I was groomed in a way. Sean Payton helped me become that player. Gerald Ingram, when Tom Coughlin took over, helped me become that player. So the coaching was right for me. And if without that, I'm in the league for 2 years. I'm a second-round bust, but I had good coaching. So that matters to me more than who drafted me or where I was drafted.
Here's what I know, and I remember saying this at the beginning of the year. I don't care how much progress you feel like is happening. Brian Daboll won't survive a 4 or 5 win season. Now, we never got to that point because he got fired before that. So I'm going to give you...
he was on track for less than that.
He was, right. So I guess I was right, technically. I'm going to continue it with this. There are 7 games left on the schedule, and we don't know about the quarterback situation. More on that as the show rolls on. We don't know if Jaxson Dart's going to be cleared. He probably won't for Sunday. Who knows about the week after? So there's uncertainty in terms of the most important position on the field. But I'll make you a prediction. If the New York Giants finish this season 2-15 or 3-14, Joe Schoen is not leading the search for a new head coach. And I respect the statement that Mr. Mara and Mr. Tisch put out there yesterday. And I believe that in this moment, that's how they feel. And that's fine. But I'm telling you right now, just my gut and just using my brain, because I'm listening to what John even said back in January. In fact, I want to play it for you. All right, here is the owner of the New York Football Giants, John Mara, in January explaining, hey, this is why I'm making an unpopular decision. He owned it. He said, I know you're not going to be happy, but I'm bringing back Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. And I want to tell you why. And I want you to listen carefully to the why. And I think it backs up what the thinking is even today. Take a listen.
Staying with both of them is the best course of action for us right now. I think in Brian's case, he was the coach of the year 2 years ago. That didn't disappear all of a sudden. I still believe he can do that again. And in Joe's case, I thought we had an outstanding draft class this year. I thought we had a really good free agency period, and I really like the staff that he's put together and built. And I think that they're the right 2 guys to lead us going forward. I understand, believe me, that that's not going to be the most popular decision in Giant Land, but we believe it's the right decision for us going forward.
So here's what I took out of that. He believed in Brian Daboll. This year, there are data points to not believe in him anymore.
Yeah, mainly 2 wins.
100%. What he said about Joe Schoen, and you all don't have to agree with it, but he told you, I believe in his drafts. I believe in his free agencies. And by the way, this is before the 2025 draft. Abdul Carter, Jaxson Dart, Cam Scatterbo.
Right.
He believes in this general manager. So my thinking is, if they don't win some football games, and this really does go flat, and they go 2-15 or 3-14, I really believe that John Mara and Mr. Tisch are going to say to ourselves, you know what, maybe we're wrong about that whole thing about the roster.
I don't know, man. Because these last 2 drafts have been exceptional. I mean, they really have.
Has the 24 one looked exceptional now a year later?
Well, the problem is I have a hard time evaluating, and I'm being honest here, Drew Phillips and Tyler Nubin. I don't know what Tyler's supposed to be doing. He often looks like he's out of position. But last year, I would have said he's always in position. He made every play that he had to. Drew Phillips was a top 5 cornerback, not just a nickel, not just a rookie, a top 5 cornerback, according to PFF, obviously, in the NFL. As a rookie, he's regressed this season. Part of it's probably scheme. And so I don't know how to separate the coaching away from what I saw a year ago.
That's fair.
And so I can't look at 2024 and then say, no, they didn't live up to it. Because guess what? Malik Neighbors was still a stud until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm also more down on Theo Johnson than others, which they touted up high.
He had a phenomenal game last week. He is inconsistent as hell.
That's my problem.
Frustrating to me, but I take that as a young player finally getting some time to play. He didn't play a ton in his rookie season. He's getting a lot of burn. He's supposed to be the guy in that position, and he struggles with it. Right? The moment, catch the ball. When it's in your hands or in your catch radius, catch it. That's all you got to do, period. And he's learning that, right? You see it on his face after he had that one go through his arms 2 weeks ago. Like, he wants to be good at this, but sometimes it takes time learning how to be the man. And he's becoming more of the man at the tight end position. We saw it. He had 75 yards last week until Jaxson Dart got hurt and Russell Wilson can't throw the ball over the middle of the field anymore, and he became irrelevant. So I like Theo Johnson. I like the potential of Theo Johnson. I can't sit here and say I'm down on him on his second year, a year and a half in. He sucks. That's unfair to him.
I agree. I'm not saying any of these guys suck, but I'm just saying when I'm touting a draft class, when I approach what's going to be this offseason, I'm not eliminating tight end, safety, or corner as major needs on this team based on I should be if those were absolute hits. I think that's
corner for sure. There's no doubt about it. You'd need a corner. You need the best corner that you can find because that's what this league is made out of. I watched Derek Stingley play cornerback, and I'm like, dude, that guy is a baller.
Yeah, Kenyon Mitchell.
I can't say exactly. I can't say that about any of our guys right now.
Do you think, and this is where I'm curious, if you agree with me, and I guess Bob Papa too, do you think it's in permanent ink that Joe Schoen's the general manager next year?
No, nothing is in permanent ink. As Mike Gilhammer, who was my running back coach after Jim Skipper left, used to say to us, they need to hang a sign, hiring all positions. Honestly. Like, legitimately.
No, I get you.
Outside of Quest Diagnostic Performance Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey, they need to put a sign up hiring all positions.
And the other sign I would put up to all the Giant fans out there, card subject to change. Because as of right now, Joe Schoen is going to lead the coaching search. I'm not convinced that happens first week of January.